Hey, 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 God bless each and every one of you. It's me, your life coach, Andrea Jackson. Welcome to Joy Life Center Coaching and Consulting. We're going to get right on in. We're going to be talking about managing anger. Hold on. Let me start admitting some others into group. Good morning, Miss Susu.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Bianca.
Good morning.
Good morning. Ooh, it's crisp this morning.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. We're waiting for Sister Lupe to get her audio together. But until then, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hey, Sister Lupe. There she is.
Hey, hi
Hey.
everyone. Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
morning. Good morning, guys. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about, and excuse me, I was eating some nuts for breakfast, but sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. But today, we're going to be talking about that because sometimes I feel like a nut managing my anger. Managing my anger. Now, you may say, you know what? We did a lot of conversation. We did a lot of discussion and we made some great headway, I'd like to believe, in our topic on healing from anger. But now that we've gone through some process of healing, we want to talk about managing it some. But before we go there, let's check in. So I think Miss Susu was our first caller, then Miss Bianca, and then Sister Lupe. So good morning, Miss Susu. Go ahead and check in with us.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Jackson, and to all that is on the line. I'm feeling good this morning. Out again, enjoying the sunshine, did my exercise, mental state. I'm pretty good there, I believe. Anyway, I'm doing good in anticipation for the class. But I can get back in my mind, but I can get the help that I can get for me. That way I can help someone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Sounds like a very good start of the day. How about you, Miss Bianca? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am doing well this morning. Got a few things ahead of me, but still doing well. Still doing well. Gonna go ahead and conquer those things to the best of my ability and accept the things that I cannot change the things that I can, and know the wisdom and the difference between both of those. So I'm doing well. Thank
You
you.
filling in that sink with your damn cup. God.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sister Lupe, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi everyone.
Hello.
I'm feeling sleepy, exhausted. So I plan on getting lots of rest today. But I'm always excited for the therapy sessions. Help me get through the day. I um have acquired many tools and I've actually put into action. One of the ones that I did was um that I learned from your class was um when you're not emotionally available to answer that phone call.
Yes.
And I had that situation. I have people now, especially in the ministry now, the people that women that call me, and sometimes it might be an emergency, and I'm like, I am not emotionally ready for that. So, but I find myself being emotionally ready when I go to God first, and I'm filled with the Spirit, and I'm able to give some of that to share with others. But I don't feel bad anymore. I don't feel like I have to be available and have to be emotionally available first off. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you, Sister Lupe. Thank you. Yeah, many times we always qualify our availability on our time. Well, I got a moment, but at the same time, I'm not emotionally available. I learned a long time ago that sometimes we put our lives out of order. If I haven't fed my kids, my husband has needs, maybe he had a hard day, he needs my ear or whatnot. Maybe I've had a hard day or I just had a hard moment, then I'm not emotionally available to let someone add to that. I have to build a foundation. We talk about when the emergency speech that they give us, the instructions rather, and they give us when we're on an airplane, and they let us know, if in the unlikely event that this airplane goes down, the things they tell you is put your mask on first before you try to help the elderly person sitting next to you, before you try to help that child sitting next to you, before you try to help that person on the other side of you. You got to put your mask on first and take care of yourself. So absolutely, I'm so glad of that, Sister Lupe, and not feeling guilty about it. I can't feel guilty to not give what I don't have. We try to measure up, and that's beautiful that we try to measure up, but let's measure up in a healthy way. Let's build our house like the three pigs. Is it the three pigs? Yes, it is the three pigs. Like the three pigs. Sometimes we do a hasty job and we just build our house in straw. Sometimes we do a hasty job and we build our house in sand. And when trouble comes, it blows our house away. We have nothing to stand on. We have no foundation. And there's so many big bad wolves in this thing called life that we have to take the time to build our house. So thank you so much. I'm so glad of that. Yay.
I like that.
Let's
That
see.
was very good. I like that.
Excellent. Yes. Excellent. I got to have a solid foundation before I can build anything else on top. That's how things crash and burn. That's how our emotional state crash and burn. That's how our mental state crash and burn. Sometimes even in relationships, I'm not emotionally ready. I'm not emotionally available for a relationship. I'm still healing, but sometimes, just that need for company. Well, we have to look for other ways to satisfy the need of company. Loneliness is a thing, but there's so many other ways to satisfy it. Like I was sharing with Miss Susu, she can get a dog. Not everyone likes dogs, so get a rabbit. But anyway, good morning, guys. But we can meet friends at Starbucks. We have all these social medias. We can get involved. I like how the Bible talks about unto the women and to the men, but it specifies the women, that if you are unmarried, if any of you are not married, do the work of the ministry. Do the work of the ministry. I know some people don't believe that personal time and God's time can be equivalent, and that's okay. But why not? My personal time has been far less valuable in times past. I just want to build my life today. And I'm so grateful that each and every one of you do too. And I like how even Sister Lupe was saying, I want to date in a healthy way. Moving forward, I want to do things healthy. I want to build my house on a solid foundation. I love you guys. Miss Jenny, good morning. Miss Jenny may not be available for
Good morning.
There she is. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Jackson and everyone on the line.
Good
I just wanted to I'm so embarrassed and I don't know if it's an exposure, but today I just said a comment, and that was the second time today that I used that word, just came out from nowhere.
Mhm.
And I asked God to forgive me earlier.
Mhm.
And even my son looked back at me because he been running amok all day. all morning actually. And then he even looked back at me like, why are you saying that? And I was like, oh God, forgive me, where'd that come from? And I said it again about some cups. And
Mm.
I just, want to apologize to everyone because I don't even like to use that word. There's such a cuss word to me still.
Okay, no problem. We
You
understand.
know, no, it's no, I'm a little, I would, I'm a little embarrassed, but I don't know where it came from, and like I said, it was the second time I said that, that word today. And that's not me. I don't like cussing. I don't cuss,
Mhm.
and wow.
Well,
And then
it's just like you said, maybe not so much in exposing, but in accountability. I
yeah.
have to be mindful because, and we're all human. We're all human. One thing we have to realize is, like you said, the conviction came to you first. And because it violated your moral values and your moral principles and how you normally live. And when that happens, when we violate our own morals, we do feel some kind of way. But on top of that is because it was done, like you said, it was in a shared atmosphere, it brings on embarrassment. But I want to let you know that you have no reason for embarrassment here. You are human. And even though we find, and this is what we talk about on this line, we have internal messages, we have things inside of us that may not be at the light because we choose not to live our life like that, but they're in us and they come out under certain pressures. So that's just an awesome example, that if we don't take care of those things that are brewing inside of us or take care of those things that are going on in us, there are some other things that's waiting for an opportunity to spew out. And anger is that emotion that a lot of stuff rides out on. And you're like, oh, I can't believe I said that. I understand. I understand. But go in
Yeah.
outside of that. How are you? Check in with them.
Um, I thank God for waking me up, like I say every day now, especially, after, going through my little medical condition and just of course, everyday life. I'm just trying to find a way to be content on today,
Yes.
with what, God has allowed to happen on today, and trying to keep it together,
Mm,
but I know I can't keep it together for everybody,
right.
so I got to keep it together for myself. And
Absolutely.
and I I'm still grateful. I'm still grateful because we got a roof over our head,
Yes.
and I have more than many people that don't have,
Mhm.
and of course always praying for those that are unfortunate. And I have to be I'm just trying to find myself as being grateful for what I got today,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm trying to work on because of course I can imagine all kind of things that I can get and how I can get it. But I'm like, I am not doing that today. I ain't getting no loan today and be all in debt. And I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just gonna ride with what I got.
Yes.
Just trying to maintain. I'm cooking my dinner early. I'm trying to eat healthier. I found
Yeah.
myself kind of slipping last week. I had a little piece of pie here and a cookie there, and ooh, and all the little sugar is up. And now I find myself not eating enough. I've lost 7 pounds since.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good part about it. But this body is still, kind of, I'm just trying to work it out. But I'm glad to be on the session on today, and great to hear everybody's voice, and thanking God for you, Miss Jackson, for the opportunity and the open door to learn more and to work with my feelings and my inside issues, and just you know, I'm just gonna continue to pray, and thank God
Yeah.
for this season. even in the season, it's kind of dry for me.
Mhm.
But I'm waiting on the rain. I'm waiting on the rain. I'm hopeful, and the enemy try to come and and try to, damp it out or whatever sometimes, and uh
Mhm.
uh my mind, So
Yeah.
if my mind been racing for the past couple of days where I don't know, I got a little sleep last night for the first time, but
Mhm.
the other few nights I only been sleeping 3 to 4 hours, or
Wow.
waking up in the middle of the night and waking up in anxiety. I don't know what's going on, but um, I'm just trying to take care of myself.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Jenny. Thank you. And you're absolutely right. Just take care of yourself. One thing about it, sweetheart, and to all of us, because your story is my story sometimes. My story is your story sometimes. So whatever the stories are that we have, that's the wonderful thing that I love about group, because you're not just learning from one individual's life experience, you're learning through a guided process of principles through many people's experience. Some things that, like we hear Ms. Kashara say, oh, wow, when so-and-so speak, it makes me think of something that I hadn't thought of, because we provoke each other to thought, because our experiences mean something. And sometimes it triggers with someone else. So now that we're learning more about ourselves and we're moving more in healthy places with ourselves, we find now that it is we're learning how to take care of ourselves and put ourselves first. Put ourselves first. I like how Bianca said, it took me some time to get here, but I'm here, and I'm glad I'm here. I'm not going to let anything remove me from this place. I may find out how to do it better. I may find out how to love me first better, how to prioritize myself better, how to do it where it won't affect others, how to do it where I don't care if it affects others. However, we're learning to take care of ourselves. We're going to be talking about managing anger today. Now, I know we did 3 straight days on healing from anger. And if you guys remember, and I did a little highlight in yesterday's class, but we talk about motivating ourselves. Are we motivating ourselves every day? Those of you that have identified that anger is an issue, have we been motivating ourselves to be prepared when an anger producing situation occurs? Have we been motivating ourselves and encouraging ourselves to remember what our principles are, what our policy is? When we decide, when we say, you know what, I know that I have an anger problem, or maybe I have some issues with anger. So what I'm going to do is da 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 da, and I'm going to make sure that I take care of da 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 da, because guess what? I don't want that anger to rise up and take me out of control. If you guys checked your email, I sent the email. I send out an email to everyone on every Monday and Thursday. So please feel free to share them with your friends. If you haven't received anything, please send me your email address, because it may be that I don't have your email address, or I have an incorrect email address. But I sent about 46 emails out to people. And today's email was about what we talked about, anger. And there's this little boy, and he's standing there, and he has his arms folded, and he's angry. And many times that's that little boy or that little girl inside of us, where we're just sitting there with our arms crossed, and we're angry, and we don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to work it. So we want to motivate ourselves to stay in that place of control. And then after getting these policies on anger, what we will do, what we won't do, being proactive in designing a plan. If we're in a situation, remember, we want to make sure that we take the time to give ourselves a moment to now contain the situation. Contain the situation. Whatever the emergency is, whatever that anger producing situation is, some of the things we may have to do is take a time out, walk away. We may have to start thinking about the other person. We may have to do a grateful list in our heart and in our mind right then and there. So whatever it is that you do, you know, that's something that you've already planned for in your motivating times when there is no anger producing situation going on. Then you're going into when there is an anger producing situation, you're going to execute the plans that you motivated yourself in when there was no anger producing situation. And then remember remember as MCL, a more caring life. That L is to listen to yourself. Okay, what just happened? Why was I so angry about that? What just happened that it just teed me off? So let's remember those steps. Those of us that have some anger revolving in our hearts and our minds, because that anger is just like how Miss Jenny just said, when that anger comes out, other things come out too. You know, things that maybe there's not in your natural way of life, things that are maybe not in your everyday natural routines. But when that anger comes out, and that uncontrolled anger, it can bring us consequences. It can bring us jail sentences, destruction of friends, destruction of families. People don't want to be around you because you can't control your anger. So today we're going to be talking about managing anger. Managing anger. And let's see, anger is an emotion that may lead to people's relapse. Let's remember that, and I'm going to read to you. This is particularly true in early recovery. We're trying to overcome these negative, unhealthy, unwanted behaviors. And when we try to put a stop to it and do something different, in our early part of this recovery, we're in conflict with ourselves. We're in conflict with ourselves because we know intellectually, our mind knows that behavior is not good for me. When I'm out of control with anger, that's not good for me. But on the other hand, the brain is like, I just want you, because remember the brain's function is to just bring you into a place of well-being. It doesn't have an intellect. Your brain doesn't have an intellect. Your mind, which is connected to your soul, is your intellect. That's why your soul holds the memory of what's happened, what didn't happen, how you feel about it, because your soul is the rational part of yourself. Your heart is your emotional self. So now when we look at our brain is a part of our physicality. Your brain is an organ. It don't think for you. Our brain is run by different neurotransmitters, as we always share. The different neurotransmitters. So what it does is it functions according to what brings the body pleasure. This is why sometimes we crave drugs and alcohol. This is how come sometimes we crave, doing things that are unhealthy, unwanted to us, promiscuous sex, unhealthy sex, things that your mindset knows this is not good for me. It has shown a very negative outcome, but your brain is like, but it satisfies and it brings well-being to the overall body, which is the brain's function. I'm supposed to bring well-being. That's all. I'm supposed to bring you to a feeling of well-being. I'm supposed to be able to, whenever something goes wrong with this body, I send antibodies, I send enzymes, I do what I'm supposed to do. When you're in a state emotionally, or you feeling some kind of way, your brain is going to all of a sudden remind you of things. Your brain is going to bring up, because remember, your dopamine system, your dopamine neurotransmitters is what rates your reward. So if your reward of smoking a blunt rates high in your reward system, guess what? When your being is in distress, what's going to happen? You're going to start craving something on that dopamine reward system. Your brain is beautifully made. It's beautifully structured, but this is how come we are resetting our brain. We're abstaining from those behaviors. We're putting some things in place so that we don't have to operate in them anymore. And now while at the same time, we're creating more better behaviors, and which will open the door to a healthy lifestyle. Better behaviors lead to healthier lifestyles. So it's just like we talk about anger. Anger can become an addiction. Whenever you don't feel some kind of way, you just want to holler and scream. And then it kind of starts triggering your dopamine, which is your feel good. So now you feel good about cussing that person out. You feel good about hollering and screaming. That's how I spell relief. But now we're retraining the brain. No, that's not how we spell relief. That's a situation that we don't want to participate in. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is now managing anger. Now that we've kind of learned how to heal from it, while we're healing, let's also learn how to manage it. Because again, in that early stage of getting rid of those unhealthy, unwanted behaviors, it's hard. You start becoming in conflict with yourself, your angry self versus your rational self. That's like, we're not going to do that anymore. That sent us to jail last time. Our kids don't like being around us. They say we yell too much. So we're going to try to prevent those relapses. So one of the things that we think about is anger is frequently experienced in slow building processes during which you are constantly thinking about the anger producing situation. Have you ever been angry about something and it just preoccupied your thoughts all day? You didn't have the mental energy to care about your recovery, care about being appropriate in other areas of your life because that anger producing situation kept going. Often, sometimes we have a sense of victimization, and I'll show you how that accompanies anger, because we'll start getting questions like, why that gotta happen to me? Why get all the breaks? Why don't nobody care about what I need? Why don't nobody, we start me, 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 me. And that's where the anger has a door to remain. So now you're angry because you didn't get your way. You wouldn't be angry if it wasn't something that violated what you wanted or who you are, So now victimization comes in, they should listen to me. They should do what I think they should do. They should see what I'm trying to tell them. Why should they see what I'm trying to tell them? Why should they consider my needs above their own needs? So I want to ask a question. Does any of this seem familiar to you? Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I gotta get in there. Yes, ma'am.
Right ahead.
Have been, and sometimes it still tries to creep up where I continue to think about a matter that has angered me.
Yes.
All day long. The day is over. The sun is down and the moon is shining in the nighttime. And I'm still there thinking about that thing, which just brings more anger.
Yeah.
More anger.
Yeah.
I had an incident, this incident kind of been brewing for a minute now.
Okay.
But it came to its head on yesterday.
Okay.
And so an incident, where it's a kind of a hard pill to swallow.
Okay.
And so, but one thing that as I heard Sister Lupe say, that she used one of the things that she's learned from being apart. One thing on yesterday, I said within myself, and I take that back, I said it out loud so I could hear myself saying it.
Good. Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not going to worry until there is something to worry about.
Excellent.
I'm not going to worry until there's something to worry about, because sometimes I get caught up in the process of things and I've already drawn.
Future.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so
future concern. Yes.
Right. And so I said out loud, I'm not going to worry until there is something to worry about. Now, some would say, well, you shouldn't worry, period. But that's a step for me.
Yes.
That's a step for me, not to worry about it until there is something to worry about. And so I said that out loud. And I tell you, even on yesterday, I got a text message because somebody knew what I was going through. And they said, well, how do you feel about the situation?
Mm-hmm.
And at that particular time, I was still battling, trying to figure it out on my own of how I can and all this different thing. But when that came across my mind, and I know it was God who brought it across my mind, because I suffer along with this kind of stuff here. don't worry until there's something to worry about. And so when I said that out loud, that was just, it was okay. That when other
Wow.
individuals approach me, uh, thinking one way that it may go down like this, but seeing that it did not go down like they had expected it or the way that it has been
Expected you to
portrayed.
handle it different. Mhm.
Yeah. And so that was one of the things I wanted to say. So I got the opportunity on yesterday to deal with something that can very anger me,
Okay.
So I got the opportunity and slept well last night.
Wow.
Wasn't sitting there pulling my hair out, trying to think about it or anything like that. Slept very well
Yeah.
last night. Got up with a whole new mindset on this morning. We're gonna figure it out the best way that I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And just go move forward with it. And so that's what I wanted to say. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Thank you, Bianca. I'm glad to hear that. Anyone else? I love that. Anyone else have some anger producing situations that have come and preoccupied your mind, your thoughts, especially those thoughts of why they don't do this for me, why they don't see my needs, why they don't, when we're having that pity party that turns into anger because no one's dancing at my party. No one's dancing at my pity party. No one is seeing my needs. Now, I'm not saying that all of your things are pitiful, but some of the situations, even though it would be nice to have someone, but sometimes we expect certain things from some people and we get angry when they don't respond to our expectations. Bianca, did you want to share?
Well, hey, I guess this is my day.
Go, girl.
I remember um, going through health challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember looking around in my family,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was enjoying life. And, I don't want to say they don't know God or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But still enjoying their life. They, Monday through Saturday, do whatever they want to do and different things like that. And I began to just sit and I began to look and see how healthy they was.
Okay.
And here it is, me, I'm trying to live for God, the
Yeah.
best I could at that particular time. I think I do better now than I did back then. So, trying to live for God and different things like that. And here I am going through all of this. And I became angry.
Yeah.
I became angry, like, really? Not so much I wanted them to feel what I felt, but it's like they doing all that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like they just enjoying life.
Right.
And here I'm kind of stuck with a couple of lemons here.
Yeah.
And so I remember being angry, and I remember it was just like, wow, I couldn't really bring myself to understand anything. Don't tell me nothing. I was just angry about the situation. Um, and it really, it bothered me for a good while. A good while, it bothered me, and I bring it up a little even further up. I remember when I was going through my eye issue. I had to have eye surgery, and I was going through my own issues. It's something about when you going through.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
you going through, and even though situations is the way they always been,
Mm-hmm.
but the enemy are trying to magnify that thing to make you look at it a little bit closer,
Mm-hmm.
to try to corrupt
Yeah.
something that's been going on down through the years.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I was getting ready for eye surgery and everything like that. And I remember being sitting there, and I watched people in the church, and I watched them, and they was just going around, and I was just sitting there, barely seeing. I was sitting there, the people were just going around and they was laughing and hugging each other. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, don't they see me?
Mhm.
Don't they see what I'm going through?
Right.
You know, stuff like that. But it was nothing different.
Yes.
But because my own issues, because of what I was going through,
Yes.
gave opportunity for the enemy to come in. The Bible says don't even give him a foothold.
Not even a foot.
Where though the door was wide open because of my own personal issues that I was going through with my body and all that kind of stuff. Well, now it just magnified that they were just having a beautiful time and they forgot all about me and all this kind of stuff. When it was nothing like that.
Right.
Had a lot to do with fear,
Yeah.
had a lot to do with maybe abandoned issues,
Yes.
had a lot to do with maybe I can't be in control.
Wow.
Now I need somebody to see maybe a little more closer of what's going on in my life now, where I always been one that, been upbeat and do whatever I want to do. People had not known for years that I was legally blind.
Right.
For years. That was something that I was able to get on through. But as time time continued on, there was some things, that took place that now, it's able to be seen. And if it ain't able to be seen, I'm able now to say, hey, that's a little too much for me. Because I am legally blind. Or don't get so close in my face because that messes with my sight or different things like that. But yeah, I have experienced where I have been angry. Also situations that I really didn't have control over.
Yes.
I like what Miss Denise said yesterday, and I might not phrase it right, but what she was saying about, you get in a fight, you get your eye knocked out, God, he you repent, God accept the repentance, but it doesn't mean that he gonna give you your eye back, you know. So just learning how to deal with situations that come up,
Wow.
because some things, as she also said, and as I know for myself, some things are just we brought some things on our own self.
Yes.
Not eating right,
Yeah.
not going to the doctor like we're supposed to go to the doctor, not taking our medication like we're supposed to take our medication. That's nobody else's fault. That's our fault. Owning up to it.
Yeah.
Owning up to it. All right, I'm gonna give somebody else something to say, but if you don't jump in, I'll be back.
Hey, awesome. Very well spoken. Very well spoken. I love how you even introduce some of the factors that's at play. Sometimes remember, anger is not always the lead feeling, the lead emotion, that initial emotion. No, sometimes there's other variables that's in play that comes of priority to the anger, or some that's just motivating the anger. The fear, the lack of control, those things that she just mentioned, not being able to be involved. So now our mind and because of our emotions, our mindset is now challenged with which way it wants to go, which way it want to perceive the matter. So I love that. Thank you so much. Anyone else where anger came about because my needs wasn't met in the way that I wanted them to? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
All right.
You go, girl. You get a star for today. It
In
was
relation,
okay the other day. Now you got a gold star. Go ahead.
in relationship,
Okay.
giving out all that you give out, the love, the compassion, and different things like that, and not being the one that receiving back to the
Ah,
point that you think that you should receive it back.
yes.
You know, just, you know, like I said, just pour it out, you know, loving on people,
Yeah.
helping people, you know, really try to move mountains for people or whatever the
Yes.
situation is. And then when you fall up, down, or when you need help, then those people that you helped can't help you
Yeah.
for whatever reason that they can't help. Maybe really they can't help.
Right.
Maybe really that God is not allowing them to help because he needs you to learn how to stand on your own and to depend on him.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
maybe they just don't want to help. But whatever that reason is, you know, it brings us feeling some type of way, feeling, you
Mhm.
know. So in relationships and not getting what you put into a relationship back
Yes.
could make you angry, you know, and it can make you so angry that you be like, I'm just gonna close the door to that.
Yes.
You know, I'm closing the door to that. You know, I've given out and I don't get that in return. So I'm not gonna put myself out there anymore or anything like that.
Mhm.
Isolate yourself
Mhm.
because of the anger that you feel, you know, separating yourself
Mhm.
because you feel this away. And again, like you said, with anger, you know, there's layers.
Yes.
There's layers to that thing. You
Yeah.
know, anger may come because you've been dropped. You've
Mhm.
been feeling abandoned. It
Yeah.
may it may come because now you can't control things
Yeah.
that you so used to controlling. You
Yeah.
know, and said now you need help to do this, that, and the other, and you angry about that. So it comes in different forms and fashion. You know, like with love. You know, I love you, but I don't get that in return to the fact where I think I should. But
Right.
again, uh, you know, the way God has made me to love somebody doesn't mean that's the way they'll love me back.
Right.
Being willing to accept the way that they do love me,
Mhm.
long as they know abuse and disrespect there, but they
Right.
love me the way that they know how to love me.
Right.
But being able to accept that and not be angry
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I love you like this and I did this for you and I did that for you and this is all you can give back to me and
Mhm. Mhm.
not doing all that. Been guilty of that.
Yes.
Been guilty of that. Even in family relationships,
Yes.
I've been guilty of that. You know, I do whatever I can for family members and everything like that. But then when it's your turn to show it back to me, no. But you'll go out there, you show it to somebody else in the streets.
Mhm.
You'll love them.
Mhm.
You'll take them in as your daughter, your sister, your auntie, or whoever,
Yes.
you know, but your blood sister, daughter, auntie, cousin, you don't know nothing about that. But again, having to go through the healing process of
Yeah.
all of that. Because if you do not go through the healing process of it, it will tear you down,
Yeah.
beat you down, kill you
Ooh.
spiritually, physically,
Mhm.
mentally, emotionally,
That's
and
right.
guess what? Even financially, it will
Hey.
kill you. It will
Mhm.
kill you. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Bianca. Wonderfully said. Wonderfully said. You know, it's amazing, and I love how you brought up even outside of intimate relationships. You could be relationships with family. You don't love me like I love you, and even though that may be neglect or abandonment or unhealthy expectations, that's really talking. What's the emotion that comes up? Anger. And this is why we talked about the other day, recognizing your feelings. How do you recognize your feelings? Because lots of times we mislabel feelings. I love how Ms. Bianca brought that out. What's really in control here is fear. What's really in control here is my lack, of being able to be in control. But all those feelings ride in through the emotion of anger. Anger is so fluid in its mobility that it'll take anything, jealousy, hurt, depression, it'll take anything and ride it out as anger. This is why we have to learn to recognize our emotions. Thank you so much for that. You guys rock. I love you guys. You guys, and it's like when you get in and you start digging into this stuff, when you start kind of, moving it around and chopping it up and really, bam, taking a look at it, examining it, rather than just, I just feel mad. Okay, why are you mad? Cause what? So we have to identify that. So I want to ask you, like I asked the other day, when recognizing our other feelings, we was talking about our feelings and depression. How do you recognize anger? How do you recognize when you're angry? What are some of your internal, some of your natural, some of your external? What are some of those symptoms that let you know, uh-oh, I'm getting angry? What happens to you? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Maybe you
About it.
pause. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bianca.
Oh, I was gonna say, am I the only one on here today, or is this only for me today? For me, some of those feelings that I feel when anger rise up is my stomach. That's
Okay.
the first thing for me. My stomach is very sensitive,
Okay.
so it's very sensitive. So when I'm angry, that usually is the first thing that I can feel it in, is in my stomach.
Okay.
Um,
Love that.
Another thing is I may get a headache because I'm not one that suffer from headaches, but if I get angry
Mhm.
enough, I could tell that my head is starting to hurt.
Okay.
Another thing for me is there's things that I do, like I may clench my fist, open it and close it, or I do this little finger test. They tell me they do this when people are signing up for the army
Hmm.
to see, I guess, the eye and hand coordination. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I take my fingers and I go from one finger to the other, and just to touch the tip of my fingers. That's another sign that I'm there. I'm kind of there.
Okay.
I'm kind of there. So yeah, those would be some of my signs that I would say. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent in how you recognize it. Anyone else? How do you recognize your anger? Whether in your body, whether externally, your hands start shaking, or like Miss Bianca say, they start clenching, maybe you start sweating, you get hot, maybe your chest gets warm, maybe your heartbeat increases. What are some of the ways you identify that you're angry?
And also my blood pressure.
Your
I
blood
can literally
pressure can
feel my
rise.
blood pressure rising.
Oh, that's pretty deep.
Yeah, I can feel it rising. And sometimes to the point, because I wear glasses, sometimes to the point I can feel my glasses like they kind of vibrate on my nose. So yeah, I have some signs that okay, girl, get it together. So yeah.
But that's amazing. I laugh it because that was funny. I've never heard vibrating glasses, but that's the thing, knowing yourself well enough that you can feel these things, that you can identify. Anyone else, what's your identification? How do you recognize anger?
Yes. Hello, am I on?
You're
Go
on.
ahead.
Yeah. One of the ways I believe I recognized my anger, well, it can't be hid, but what I begin to get confused in my mind.
Okay.
I can't think properly the way I would think. I'm out of anger, or I don't have nothing really heavy on my mind.
Mhm.
I can say a couple of times driving my car,
Mhm.
angry about something because maybe I lost, I can't find the address or whatever it is. And once that anger sets in,
Mhm.
next thing I know, I don't know where I'm at. I done got lost.
Okay, okay.
So now I have to find out where I am and which freeway to take to get back to the place that I was, because of anger, because I was angry and upset because maybe I'm 5 minutes late and oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss something, and begin to go into this panic mode. So
Right,
that
okay.
yes, so that's what begins to happen with me, and my daughters say to me, Dad, calm down, because I would begin to low key panic
Okay.
and get confused in my mind. Confusion will begin to cloud my judgment.
Okay. I love how you said that. Thank you so much, Brother Danny. Thank you so much. I loved how you shared that. The confusion, that's a true sign that you're getting angry. I love that. Go ahead, Miss Jenny, and then Miss Susu.
Yes. Uh, wow. That's something to think about. When you're angry and if I can recall, I try not to be. I'm not I really never was a violent person. Not to say violent, but to get angry. And sometimes it takes a lot to make me like really upset, But I find myself sometimes as I get older that things frustrate me more than what it used to. I guess because, I didn't deal with a lot of things when I was using. So I would get drunk, you
Right.
know. So I ain't got time for that. I'm gonna go to the liquor store.
Right.
So I'm dealing with, you know, these past uh, 18 years. So it's like, oh, this is life. Oh, and then of course thoughts in my mind would go, you know what? But of course and so when I do get pressure going up, oh, okay. I can feel my pressure going up and everything. Like I said, I had mentioned about when I was younger, I wouldn't mind, if I get angry, not even angry enough to, okay, it's a fight or we finna have a fight or somebody, am I gonna jump in or whatever? And
Mhm.
I said, boy, the last time I did have a little struggle, I was trying to, throw down with my husband
Ouch.
and he had to hold me down and
Oh,
and
wow.
and yeah, that man can't hold me down. He can put me on the floor in a minute and sit me down and let me lay there, and I'm trying to struggle and get up to attack. And and I can't move or do anything. And I
Right.
just, forget it. And I'm just so out of breath, like I cannot do this anymore. I am getting too old for this stuff. So, I feel my blood pressure going, my stomach. I think I just feel a whole rush through my whole body, period. Mentally, I can't think. I'm focused on, I'm gonna attack you.
Right.
I'm gonna wring your neck. So, yeah, but it's not good for me because it makes my body, when I become angry, it makes my body shift. And I don't like that because it makes my heart races, as you asked, and I can just feel my whole body change and it don't feel good. So those are my symptoms, all the above.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's amazing how, like you were saying, with that anger, how you didn't have to deal with it before because your coping mechanisms was to drink. You drank, you got drunk, and that was the end of that problem until it came back 10 times worse when it came around again. But the
Mhm.
fact of the matter is that after 18 years of sobriety, or whenever you identified it in your sobriety, you guys, please forgive me, Officer Shade has come to visit.
Officer.
And yeah, he's supposed to be he must be on break. He's supposed to be perusing the area here. But instead he's coming and bothering the business owners. So I'm gonna have to report him. But you know, like you said, if we didn't learn how to manage and cope with our situations, if we didn't learn how to manage and cope with our situations, well, because the coping mechanism the coping mechanism was the use, it was the drinking. I'm so sorry. That's how come I have to get some different things going, because when the door is open, for some reason he think he's welcome to come in. So yes. So so when we find that we missed, and I want to talk a little bit about arrested development, because sometimes our development is arrested because we did not go through the process of maturation of learning how to deal with this and how to get out.
Look at him.
Get out. I knew this was going to happen. Look, stop. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. I knew this was gonna happen one day. Outside. Out. So, but arrested development. So what happens with arrested development, you don't go through your normal maturation process because you've been arrested in your trauma, your drug use, your alcoholism, your unhealthy relationships. So now that we go through our sobriety and we change these unhealthy relationships, we change these unhealthy behaviors, we change this trauma, we change, get out, we change this addiction, but we don't have the maturing, we don't have the coping skills or the coping mechanisms. Put that down. Stop it. We don't have that. And so, like you said, when the problems come around in life, we don't know how to cope with them because our old coping mechanism was to drink. Same thing with our anger. Same thing with our anger. Our old coping mechanism, how to deal with whatever we're dealing with, turns into anger. And so we deal with the situation with our anger. And I want to say, like Miss Bianca was sharing earlier, how sometimes our anger has even brought about, as she was mentioning, the various consequences, is brought about divorces and separations and relationships that could have gone far. Because why? Because our anger was not able to cope with their humanity. Sometimes we have false expectations. Sometimes we don't understand that we're all growing in stages. And depending on how anger impacts us, we begin to deal with the anger in ways that we're either dealing with, you know, my needs aren't met and I'm angry, and immediately I'm making decisions that's harmful, because it now takes away our ability to grow through the stages with people. So I love how you guys are sharing this today. And I want to ask, how do you express your anger? Is your anger expressed like in a way, do you kind of, and please remember to put your phones on mute, even though your background may sound quiet to you, we can hear your background. We want to find out how do you deal with, how do you express your anger? Is your anger kind of that slow budding, brewing things where, like Miss Jenny said, it take a lot to get me angry? Or are you kind of immediate, pow, there you go type of angry person? Or even is your anger that type where you are they call it passive aggressive. They call it passive aggressive, where I'll give an example where you went to go pick up your friend. I'll use Brother Danny's example. I'm driving around, I'm trying to get to this address, and I done went through everything to get there. I'm going through hot flashes, panic attacks. I'm confused because all this stuff, I'm getting kind of angry and I can feel it in my body. So what happens is we begin to identify now that I've gotten there, now that I've gotten to the place that I'm supposed to be, here it is. You're not ready. I done been through 5 wrong freeways and you're not ready. And so when I come downstairs, when the person comes downstairs that you've gone through all this for, they don't even say, I'm sorry. They don't say anything. They just, hey, what's wrong with you? And you're like, ain't nothing wrong with me. What's something wrong with you? Hey, move, go. So sorry. He wants to say, stop it. Stop it. Go. So oh my God. I am so sorry, guys.
Spray bottle.
Yeah. Gotta keep it in. I'll be off screen spraying him when he comes in. Outside, go. Outside. So he's gone for now. So when we find ourselves passive aggressive, dealing with our anger passive aggressively, sometimes we get kind of we're more of a critic and we criticize and we, because we're passively expressing our anger. So how do you express your anger? Please unmute your phone and share.
Hey. Yeah, jump in just for a second or two.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Sue, you were next. Go right ahead.
That's okay. As far as anger, I try not to get as angry, let myself get as angry,
Mhm.
if it's really heated or something, I silence myself or I get away from it. Because, and then sometimes if it's so bad, I'll, like say, Sister Bianca, I just think about the thing all day and all night,
Mhm.
But then I try not to let myself get angry enough to bother my health or anything, I don't know about anything that's made me really, really angry to want to hurt or anything. Sometimes with an angry situation or conversation, I might elevate my voice, but then it come down, not back off, But I don't want to get so worried it affects my health, maybe in denial, but I try not to let it get me there where it affects my health or something. I just bow out, back off, separate. And that's the way I do.
Okay, excellent. How do you recognize when you are angry? How do you know that you're angry?
Sometimes, like I said, I said before, a little disturbance in my head, like a little headache, like a tightness or something like that. So I know to back off, like I said, because that could cause your pressure to go up or something like that. So it's time to bow out or back off. It's not worth all that, It's just like I said, a feeling in your head, like so. That's about
Okay,
it. Mhm.
excellent. Very good recognition. Go ahead, Mr. Danny.
Yeah, as far as the anger, I don't experience the anger that I used to have. I don't have thank God I don't have angry issues. I don't have anger balled up on the inside of me. Thank God. Didn't even really recognize that until you guys really begin to speak. But when I did, how I would the remedy that I would use to quench my anger would be when I was gangbanging. I would get one of my homeboys and we would go to the enemy's hood and we would commit our offense. Or if it wasn't that, it would be an issue in the neighborhood that would be going on. And I would make myself the spokesperson over that and do what I was already angry about, my anger would be focused towards whatever I'm facing, whatever I chose to face, whether it was me and my homeboys getting a car and we go over to this neighborhood over here, or whether it was somebody in my neighborhood just being downright disrespectful or I didn't like. So I would focus that on them. And I believe that what I've been going through in my legs, that caused me, that had a lot to do with diminishing my anger because I couldn't act on it
Okay.
like I really would love to. So now, as I was hearing you guys talking, I was listening to Miss Bianca talk. I had to ask myself, okay, where does the anger focus itself at now? Where, and I really can't really say where,
Mm-hmm.
because now I don't really have those type of issues anymore. My issues is like pain in my legs or whatever it is. But whenever I'm angry at something, I don't have the same effect that I used to have.
Okay.
So as far as that, God has placed me in a position to where that can be dealt with.
Okay.
But as far as the little small things, maybe getting upset about some things, it's just a normal day to me.
Okay.
It's just a normal day to where I'm facing and focusing on so much in my life right now, to where I never really thought about, okay, the anger issue. Maybe because I'm single by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have no one to upset me or get on my nerves,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or even just family. I don't know. So right now, that part of my life, the anger part of my life, God has dealt with by allowing me to be paralyzed.
Okay.
And before, like I said before, my issues with it, to soothe my heart when I was angry, I would go out and we would go and do something to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, it wouldn't make my problems go away, whatever I was angry with, but it was a situation for them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But later those things had begun to be a mountain hill.
Mm-hmm.
So God allowed me to be paralyzed, and throughout all this part of it, He's working on every area of my life that I didn't even know about. I didn't even realize that I didn't have the anger issue
Okay.
that I used to have. I think I was telling you the other one day, Pastor, that I watch you,
Mm-hmm.
and I told myself, what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start smiling more, and it's been a battle.
Okay.
But as far as the anger issues, God has placed something in my life to deal with that.
Okay. So you believe that the paralyzation is to buffet you from the actions. So
Yes.
I want to ask, because we all have anger, whether it's anger unmanaged or anger managed. I want to ask because the paralyzation doesn't deal with the anger. The paralyzation deals with your response, the way you deal with it.
Exactly. Right. Okay. Exactly. So
So
you're right.
So now that when you become angry, because we said the same anger today as we did yesterday, if we haven't done anything about it. So how do you express that anger today? You don't go and commit an offense. You don't do that anymore. You don't go and discipline anyone. But what do you do today to manage? Because we all have anger. I don't want you to think just the anger problem. With the problem is when we can't manage it. So what do you do to manage? How do you express your anger?
Okay. Raising girls as a man.
Okay.
Sometimes some of the things they do, it kind of makes me, I get mad.
Okay.
I get angry about it. And in the event of me getting angry, I understand that sometimes even though I'm not screaming, sometimes I will begin to raise my voice.
Okay.
But and my kids begin to say, "Daddy, you raising your voice, and why?" But then I would say, "Well, I'm not raising my voice. It just sounds like that." So that's I think that's what I deal with. sometimes I can get loud, and I'm dealing with that right now
Okay.
with my daughter. Because when I talk to my daughter, I say, I'm not raising my voice. I'm talking because I want to communicate, and I want you to communicate back with me.
Oh,
We're having a discussion. It's just not me talking, but
right.
it's the both of us. So I make that real clear to him. I'm not raising my voice. Well, but Dad, you are. No, I'm not raising my voice. Okay, let me do it like this. Now I do feel like I'm raising my voice. So that's why
I love it.
I myself. Even though I may not be completely angry sometimes, when I get kind of heated, I will begin to raise my voice unconsciously.
Okay. The volume
And
goes
that
up.
can be an effect.
Were your girls around when maybe you express your anger in more unhealthy fashions in the home?
Yes,
Or when
they
you
have
committed that?
been.
Okay.
Yes.
So to them, when dad elevates, when that volume goes up, it's a trigger to what can happen next. And that's why,
Yes,
like,
that's
lower
right.
your voice, Dan, lower your voice. You okay? Wait a minute, just, because they've seen it in the past. So I'm so glad to hear that you are working on that. And I love how you communicate with your girls. I just want to communicate with you. I'm not, Dad's not raising his voice. I'm just excited. So you're learning how your volume, your tone affects others, especially those that's dear to you. I love that. Thank you so much, Brother Dan.
Can I say?
Mhm.
Can I say something right quick, just real quick? I was listening to Miss Bianca,
Mhm.
and I was listening to her talking, and when I, like I said, I'm here listening, and I'm listening to her talking, and she's talking about her about being angry, and I'm saying, you look at them, you just can't see that,
Yeah.
because some people just look so well managed.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I just want to say that. So I do understand. I thank God for again. I gotta reiterate again that I thank God, because once we get off this, amen.
Amen. God bless you. God bless you. And thank you so much. And I'm glad that you recognize that all uncontrolled anger doesn't look the same. It doesn't look the same. Some people may manage it, but the anger is destroying them in other areas. Like I believe Bianca talked about, her health. Ms. Susu talked about her blood pressure. So sometimes the anger may look different on someone else. They're not out committing an offense. I like how you put that. They're not out committing an offense, maybe like maybe how you had to regulate your anger, but they're committing offense against their own bodies. So thank you for that. Jenny, I know you've been holding, go right ahead. Maybe not. Bianca?
So with the aggressive and passive aggressor, right? So there was a time in my life where I was just totally aggressive.
Okay.
Totally aggressive. See red, bam, there it is. And like the bull to see the red blanket and charge.
Yes.
There was times in life where I was passive aggressive, where now I'm not aggressive where I'm charging at you, but I'm aggressive to the point where now I'm gonna let you know without trying to let you know.
Right.
So hey, everything okay? I'm fine.
Right.
Stuff like that.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Why you ask me that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you quiet. Well, I'm always quiet. Different things like that.
Yeah.
Not because that is how I am, but because of the passive aggressiveness, and I need to say something, but not say something.
Right.
Because if I say something, I may be way up here in the aggressive range, and so now I'm down here and being passive aggressive, and I didn't know the middle line here
of being a
so it was either I was hot or either I was cold.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah.
and not knowing that right there in between.
Mhm.
Today, as I deal with anger on another spectrum,
Mhm.
um, with my anger now is that when I'm angry, I kind of step back for a moment.
Okay.
I step back for a moment because I don't want to say different things, you know. And if you angry and you talking to somebody, they get angry, and ain't nothing gonna be heard. Just somebody just waiting for somebody to stop talking so now I can talk.
Yeah.
You know, are we talking all over?
Exactly.
Are we talking all over each other? Either way, I'm not listening. You're
Right.
not listening.
Right.
So for me, to for my peace, I kind of step back for a moment. The Bible says, "Get angry, but sin not."
You're not. Mhm.
So the harm ain't get the harm is not in getting angry, but the harm is what you do when you are angry.
Absolutely.
So I kind of step back from the situation. I give it a moment. Whether I give it a moment for that person or if I'm giving it a moment for me. But I don't just rush into a situation and bam, now we're gonna talk right now because I gotta say yeah to you.
Right.
So my thing is I kind of remove myself from the situation for a moment or two. And then I'll come back
Mhm.
and talk. Because I find out that just running off at the mouth, at the mouth, 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 listening, listening, nothing. We just sit here just running off at the mouth. So I'll come down. What's that middle thing? What's the middle one?
Being assertive.
That's the word right there. So
Mhm.
that's where I am today. Yes, I do get angry. Yes, there's some things that happens when I do get angry. But today I've learned how to deal with the anger to the point where I'm not just seeing red and now it's time to charge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Miss Lupe.
Yes. Wow. Anger. Everything everybody said, very good. Many of those aspects. Um, so for me, I come from a very, very angry place. You know, I've shared before. My dad was a raging alcoholic, and even though he got sober, he's what they call a dry drunk, where he's doing everything the same except drinking.
Okay.
You know, and now he's in his 80s and he's a bitter, angry man. And every time I go to my mom's house, he's just always mad at anything and always blaming my mom for everything. So eventually that kind of passed on to me where I started becoming bitter in my relationships with my kids, in my marriage, you know, even at work, even sometimes in ministry.
Mhm.
So I know that I have to be very careful, very careful how you know, when being in situations that will angry me. I think I cannot avoid them all the time, but I try to,
Right.
because I know I could be very explosive.
Okay. Okay.
So I try to avoid them, but I know that in those uncomfortable situations, we have the opportunity to grow as well and learn how to, you know, kind of like learn and grow from that situation and how to operate in that situation, right? So I find myself now, like Sister Bianca was saying, I don't have to respond right then and there. I don't have to, we need to talk right now. I need to talk to you. That's fine, you need to talk to me, but I'm not ready to talk to you.
Right.
And I could, even when I try to be assertive, I could sound aggressive because I noticed that, you know, in my, how can I say this? A lot of us are still working. We come from a background, maybe not. We didn't have the best parenting, and
Mm.
so sometimes I find myself around people that are just as hurt as me, you know,
Yeah.
or were brought up in a dysfunctional home. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's very, I find that to be, we're one of us, we're very emotional people, and offenses take part very quickly because we don't even understand how to handle boundaries.
Yes. Oh
We've
my
never
God.
been taught. So I used to feel like, damn if I did, damn if I don't.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't say anything, I'm gonna say it anyways because it's gonna come out one way or the other. And
Okay.
if I do say something, then something's wrong. Why am I, you know, I'm being critiqued on my feelings, and
Right.
that's one thing I'm learning not to get upset about when people undermine my feelings, because my feelings are my feelings. We all have, you know, right to feel a certain way. And when you're suppressed from those feelings, it hits a nerve because a lot of us were suppressed from our feelings as growing up.
Yeah.
Don't cry, shut up, you don't say nothing.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you know, sometimes I stay quiet for a minute, or I will withdraw from somebody. That's how I'm coping right now.
Okay.
And when I'm ready, I come out of the woods and like, hey, and people realize that they don't know. I think people think I'm funny stuff because of that, but it's actually because I'm still learning how to cope with that anger. I'm still learning how to cope and learning how to communicate, because I do not want to offend anyone. But
Right.
I'm realizing today that you're gonna offend somebody.
Right.
You're not gonna please everybody. So even in my assertiveness, people still get offended. So I just gotta remember that you know, I gotta continue to, you know, to just seek wisdom and talk to people that mentors, that professionals basically that
Yes.
went through it, and they already came out of that, and now they could sponsor me in that. And that's how I know that I'm not crazy. So I thank God for those that have been processed, and now they're basically spitting game to those that are coming out. Amen.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. You are amazing. You guys rock. I tell you. And that's what we're taught about succession. I love how Sister Lupe said that once someone's gone through, then they can reach back and now spit the game at somebody else so that we all can come and grow. But we have to desire it. And that's one of the things that we're going to close out today with is, what do we need to do as we're managing this anger, as we're healing? We're also learning how to manage it. One of the things that we want to do is be able to talk to the person that we're angry with. Let's be able to talk some things out. Now, I do understand, and you've heard, I believe Sister Lupe, Miss Bianca, you've heard them say, just because you're ready to talk does not mean that everybody's ready to bow down and listen to you because you're ready. Other people are in their modes of readiness. So we have to identify, maybe talking to that person, if it's something that you're available to do at their availability. That can help us to manage our anger. Also, let's talk to somebody. Let's talk to a therapist, talk to your life coach, talk to your pastors, your confidants, your best friends, someone that's able to be a good sounding board. Not somebody that's going to amen your stuff when you're wrong, but you have to be able to have that person of authority. Sometimes it may be a treater. I like how Sister Lupe said, sometimes it's a professional. You know, sometimes we worried about, have you been through what I've been through? You know, don't worry about it. Maybe just listen, be able to listen and hear, or sometimes just express, be able to express what's on our heart, not vent. Remember, we talked about that as we were talking about healing from anger. Venting isn't necessarily a healthy solution. Venting is venting. Venting opens the door to anger, more anger. It opens the door to now wrath. It opens the door to, oh, I can't stand that person. Then false theories. Well, if they said that, then they must have said that, you know, and all that. It opens the door to stuff. When we talk about it, we want to talk about it in a realm of looking for a solution. This is how we're going to manage our anger. Venting to the first 5 people you see, or the first 5 homegirls, or the first 5 homeboys. No, go to someone that's able to understand, someone that maybe, remember we talked about the MCL, motivate, contain, and listen. Sometimes we have to continue to go to those people before the anger producing situation to continue to motivate us to stay calm when these situations occur. When anger producing situations come, that I don't see red and go in, that I don't become passive aggressive, or definitely don't become aggressive. So one of the things that you want to talk about, even if I'm angry, I want to talk to a sounding board, someone that's sound, not my homegirl that's going to say, I saw that girl, I saw. We're not trying to do that, because that helps us to now go outside of the realm of our healthiness. We're operating in more healthiness today. We want to go into our 2023 with an intentional mindset that I'm not going to repeat those old unhealthy cycles. And if anger is a part of that old unhealthy cycle, then guess what? That's something that we need to deal with. Also, another thing we want to do is go to an outside support meeting. You know, hey, welcome to JLC. But maybe you want to go to maybe an anger management class. If your management of anger is poor, then guess what? There's a support system for that. Remember, there's power in support. The Bible tells us there's safety in the multitude of counsel. So when we go to these groups and when we go and seek out help, these are things that helps us to manage our anger. And when we manage our anger, we cultivate healthiness of heart, healthiness of mind. Remember, we're resetting our brain to break the cycle from those old unhealthy behaviors. We also want to take a moment, we talked about journaling on this line often. Take a time to write down your feelings. You never know, your feelings may become a book. Your journaling may become a book. Sometimes that's the predecessor to many different authors' great awesome bestsellers, because they took the time and they started practicing writing. And so the feelings begin to flow. And sometimes what begins to flow out on those pages is so much wisdom that they become bestsellers. Is very much needed in their time. So we want to start writing out our feelings, not for the purpose of becoming a bestseller, but for the purpose of being the best that you can be. So guess what? Some feelings just need to have their turn in the light. Because remember, again, we talk about splits. There's many different parts of us that we split off. We sweep under the carpet. That don't mean it don't exist. What it means is you've buried it. You've ignored it. You've rejected it, and it's going to come back, and it's going to come back possibly at a wrong time in your life, and you're not ready to deal with it. We talk about that arrested development. I'm not ready to deal with that because I've been focused on doing this, that, and the other. So one of the other things that we want to identify is in journaling, we want to take a break. Take a break to see if we can have a change of mindset. You know, sometimes just walk away from the anger producing situation. Manage yourself. Sometimes I may need to pull over and just have a woosah, as people say. Sometimes I may need to count to 10. 10 to 1, 1 to 10, ABC, play the card game, whatever it is for you, because we have to manage our anger. Unmanaged anger kills destiny. If you received my emails on this morning, it was all about anger. Remember, sometimes it's that little girl or that little boy inside of us that does not have their needs met, and they're angry and don't know how to express it because they haven't recognized their anger and really don't know what they're angry about. So today, guys, we got to go. But I thank you so much. I want you guys to also remember exercise is good too. Exercise, remember we talked about the neurotransmitters, that brain chemistry. Exercise get the flowing going, and it brings us good positive feelings. It brings us, it brings that well-being about. It brings us into balance. So I thank you so very much, guys. You know, we got to remember these practices. If we want to be better at who we are, we want to make sure that we continue to stay in the parameters and the principles of our life change. So you guys, I love you all. Live free, you guys, live free. I love you, and I'll see you back here on tomorrow. God bless you.